Every career comes with crucial crossroads, moments where one choice can redirect an entire life path. But some decisions stand out for their shocking consequences, where what seemed reasonable at the time turned into a career-defining mistake. From turning down multi-billion-dollar franchises to financial choices that erased fortunes, these stories reveal how quickly success can unravel when judgment falters at critical moments. Here are 12 fascinating stories about black celebrities who made surprisingly bad decisions. Mo'Nique refused to play Hollywood's game. After winning the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 2010 for her powerful performance in Precious, Mo'Nique expected her career to skyrocket. Instead, it came to a grinding halt. The problem started during awards season, when she declined to campaign for her Oscar without additional payment beyond her original $50,000 salary. Mo'Nique had fulfilled her contractual obligations to the film, but when the studio wanted international publicity tours to promote the movie, she said no. That single word triggered a cascade of consequences that would haunt her for over a decade. Director Lee Daniels himself called her months after her Oscar win to deliver devastating news. She'd been blackballed. According to multiple accounts, industry heavyweights including Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Daniels himself allegedly shut her out of major opportunities. Mo'Nique was reportedly considered for 3 significant roles, including a part in Lee Daniels' The Butler that ultimately went to Oprah Winfrey, a role on the hit series Empire, and playing Richard Pryor's grandmother in an upcoming biopic. All 3 opportunities mysteriously disappeared. The situation escalated in 2018 when Mo'Nique called for a Netflix boycott after the streaming service offered her $500,000 for a comedy special, while paying Amy Schumer, Chris Rock, and Dave Chappelle millions. The entertainment industry labeled her difficult to work with, a reputation that made casting directors hesitant to hire her. In 2022, Lee Daniels publicly apologized to Mo'Nique on stage during her comedy show in Staten Island, admitting he was sorry for hurting her and declaring they would work together again. The reconciliation came after 13 years of public feuding, but the damage to her career had already been done. Wesley Snipes believed he didn't have to pay taxes. At the height of his career in the early 2000s, Wesley Snipes was one of Hollywood's highest-paid action stars, commanding millions per film for the Blade trilogy and other blockbusters. Then he met Eddie Ray Kahn and Douglas Rosil, 2 men who promoted a fraudulent tax scheme based on the so-called 861 argument, which falsely claimed that United States citizens could only be taxed on income from certain foreign-based activities. Snipes stopped filing tax returns between 1999 and 2004, a period when he earned approximately $40 million. He even attempted to file fraudulent amended returns, claiming refunds totaling nearly $12 million for taxes he'd already paid in 1996 and 1997. The scheme unraveled in 2006 when federal authorities charged Snipes with conspiracy to defraud the Internal Revenue Service and failing to file tax returns. During his 2008 trial, Snipes presented various defenses, claiming at different points that the IRS was an illegitimate government agency, that he was a non-resident alien, and that his advisors had misled him. The jury acquitted him on the felony conspiracy and fraud charges, but convicted him on 3 misdemeanor counts of willfully failing to file tax returns. Judge William Terrell Hodges sentenced Snipes to 3 years in prison, the maximum allowable sentence for the misdemeanors. The judge made clear that the harsh sentence was intended as a deterrent to other tax protesters who might be watching. Snipes reported to McKean Federal Correctional Institution in Pennsylvania in December 2010 and served 28 months before his release in April 2013. His co-defendants received even harsher sentences. Kahn got 10 years and Rosil received 4.5 years. The conviction cost Snipes not only his freedom, but also prime years of his acting career and his reputation as a bankable action star. DMX let legal troubles destroy his legend. Earl Simmons, known worldwide as DMX, achieved the unprecedented feat of having 5 consecutive albums debut at #1 on the Billboard charts between 1998 and 2003. His raw, emotionally charged rap style and his starring roles in films like Romeo Must Die made him one of hip-hop's biggest stars. But behind the success lurked a pattern of legal problems that would eventually consume his career and fortune. According to reports, DMX was arrested approximately 30 times throughout his life for offenses ranging from animal cruelty to drug possession to tax evasion. In 2007, authorities raided his Cave Creek, Arizona home and discovered mistreated pit bulls, weapons he wasn't legally allowed to possess, and substances believed to be methamphetamine. The animal cruelty charges were particularly damaging to his public image. Then Sheriff Joe Arpaio publicly compared him to Michael Vick, who had been convicted of running a dogfighting ring. In 2008, DMX pleaded guilty to drug possession, theft, and animal cruelty charges, and served 90 days in prison. The arrests continued relentlessly: driving without a license, reckless driving, drug possession, failure to pay child support, and more. In 2017, federal authorities charged him with tax evasion for concealing $1.7 million in income between 2000 and 2005, and again between 2010 and 2015. He allegedly lived a cash lifestyle, created bank accounts in other people's names, and avoided personal bank accounts to hide his income. DMX served 1 year in prison for the tax fraud conviction. By the time of his bankruptcy filing in 2013, he claimed just $50,000 in assets against over $1 million in debt. His financial troubles included $1.24 million in back child support to multiple women. Although DMX earned more than $2.3 million from his albums between 2010 and 2015, the money disappeared into legal fees, fines, and the chaos of his personal life. Mike Tyson bought tigers instead of planning for tomorrow. In his prime, Mike Tyson earned an estimated $400 million from boxing, making him one of the wealthiest athletes in the world. By 2003, he filed for bankruptcy with $23 million in debt. The story of how Tyson lost his fortune reads like a cautionary tale about unchecked spending and poor financial management. Perhaps no purchase better symbolizes Tyson's extravagance than his 3 Bengal tigers, which cost him $70,000 each. According to multiple reports, maintaining the big cats required $200,000 annually for food and $125,000 per year for a dedicated trainer. Tyson kept the tigers for over 15 years, with one of them living on his property throughout that entire period. The arrangement ended after a woman trespassed onto his property and jumped into the tiger's habitat, resulting in severe injuries to her hand. Tyson reportedly paid her $250,000 to settle the matter. But the tigers were just one small part of Tyson's spending problem. At the height of his career, sources indicate he spent $100,000 per month on jewelry and clothes. In 2000, he reportedly spent $688,400 during a single shopping spree at a London jewelry store for a diamond watch, bracelet, and pocket watches. He hosted a birthday party for himself in 1996 that cost $410,000, featuring 13 different chefs, each working in their own kitchen. The party was attended by celebrities including Jay-Z, Donald Trump, and Oprah Winfrey. Tyson owned multiple mansions simultaneously, including a 52-room estate in Connecticut and properties in Ohio and Maryland. The maintenance costs for these properties, combined with staff salaries for an entourage that reportedly numbered over 50 people, created a financial drain that even his massive earnings couldn't sustain. Lauryn Hill withdrew from the world and stopped filing taxes. After releasing The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill in 1998, Lauryn Hill became one of the most celebrated artists of her generation. The album moved nearly 500,000 copies in its opening week and won 5 Grammy Awards, making Hill the first woman nominated in 10 categories in a single year. She was at the absolute peak of her powers. Then she essentially disappeared. In 2012, federal authorities charged Hill with 3 counts of tax fraud for failing to file returns on approximately $1.8 million of income earned between 2005 and 2007. Hill explained on her Tumblr that she had gone underground to protect herself and her family from what she described as a climate of hostility manipulation, racial prejudice, sexism, and ageism in the entertainment industry. During her sentencing hearing in 2013, Hill made a controversial statement comparing her tax situation to slavery, saying she was put into a system she didn't understand and that she had sold 50 million units only to end up paying a tax debt. Judge Madeline Cox Arleo sentenced Hill to 3 months in federal prison, followed by 3 months of home confinement with electronic monitoring. Although the charges specifically related to those 3 tax years, the sentence also took into account additional income and tax losses for 2008 and 2009, bringing the total unreported income to approximately $2.3 million, with a total tax loss of around $1 million. Hill ultimately paid back over $970,000 in back taxes and penalties before beginning her sentence at the Federal Correctional Institution in Danbury, Connecticut, in July 2013. After her release, Hill retreated even further from public life. She later revealed to Essence magazine that for 2 or 3 years after the incident, she completely withdrew from all social interaction, with no music and no television, confronting her fears and insecurities in isolation. Brandy's car accident changed everything. On December 30, 2006, Brandy Norwood was driving her 2007 Land Rover south on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles at approximately 65 miles per hour. Traffic ahead had slowed significantly, but Brandy apparently didn't notice in time. Her vehicle slammed into the back of a 2005 Toyota Corolla, driven by 38-year-old Awatef Abudihaj, a Moroccan immigrant and mother of 2, who was on her way to one of her 2 waitress jobs. The impact triggered a chain reaction. Abudihaj's car struck the vehicle in front of it, then spun sideways and crashed into the center divider before being hit broadside by another car. Abudihaj died from her injuries the following day. Her 2 sons, ages 10 and 14, were also in the car and sustained injuries. The California Highway Patrol investigated thoroughly and recommended that Brandy be charged with misdemeanor vehicular manslaughter. However, in December 2008, the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office announced they would not file criminal charges due to insufficient evidence. The office stated they couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Brandy was guilty of the charge. Civil lawsuits quickly followed. Abudihaj's parents filed a $50 million wrongful death claim, though California law only allows the spouse to sue in such cases. Her husband, Marwan Hadidu, filed his own wrongful death lawsuit. The couple's 2 children also sued. Other drivers involved in the accident filed personal injury claims. Brandy eventually reached a settlement with Abudihaj's sons, paying each of them $300,000 for a total of $600,000. She settled the other lawsuits as well, though the amounts weren't publicly disclosed. The emotional toll proved even more devastating than the legal consequences. Brandy later told Oprah Winfrey that she contemplated suicide and turned to God because she had no one else to depend on. She described the accident as something she could never get over or truly understand, calling it one of the worst times in her life. Her music career essentially stalled after the incident, and though she eventually returned to performing, the tragedy cast a permanent shadow over her life and work. Ja Rule turned down a billion-dollar franchise. When Ja Rule appeared in the original The Fast and the Furious in 2001, he played Edwin, a cocky street racer who gets defeated in a quarter-mile race against Vin Diesel's Dominic Toretto. The role was small, earning Ja Rule just $15,000, but it came with a massive opportunity attached. Director John Singleton wanted to bring Ja Rule back for the sequel, Too Fast, Too Furious, with a significantly expanded role. The offer came with a $500,000 paycheck, more than 30 times what he'd earned for the first film. But at that moment in 2002, Ja Rule was at the absolute peak of his music career. His 1999 debut album had sold 3.6 million copies. His 2000 sophomore album sold 7.4 million copies. And his 2001 third album sold 9.6 million copies worldwide. Murder Inc., his label, was churning out hit after hit, and Ja Rule felt he was making too much money from music to bother with movies. According to Singleton in a 2015 interview with Grantland, Ja Rule wouldn't return phone calls about the project. Singleton eventually went to the recording studio to meet with him personally, but Ja Rule brushed him off. The rapper later explained to MTV that he was trying to take his acting career seriously and didn't feel the sequel was the right move for his Hollywood ambitions. Frustrated by the rejection, Singleton called Ludacris, who had never worked with him before. According to Singleton's account, Ludacris was humble and excited when he explained the opportunity, immediately agreeing to be part of the project. That's how Ludacris became Tej Parker, a character who would appear in every major Fast and Furious film from that point forward. Ludacris reportedly earned $250,000 for Too Fast, Too Furious, but quickly saw his salary jump to $4 million for subsequent films. Today, he earns between $5 and $8 million per appearance in the franchise. Between all his Fast and Furious work, Ludacris has likely earned at least $25 million from the franchise that Ja Rule walked away from. Terrell Owens celebrated his way into bankruptcy. Terrell Owens was one of the National Football League's most talented and productive wide receivers, ranking third all-time in receiving yards and touchdowns when he retired. But his on-field celebrations and off-field behavior created constant controversy that cost him both money and opportunities. According to reports from NerdWallet, Owens received roughly $150,000 worth of fines during his playing career for his elaborate touchdown celebrations. Whether he was eating popcorn on the field, signing the game ball, or performing elaborate choreography in the end zone, the league consistently penalized him for excessive celebration. Owens famously told reporters the fines were worth it and that they were the least of his worries. That attitude extended to his financial management. Despite earning an estimated $80 million during his NFL career, Owens burned through his fortune with remarkable speed. He invested in risky business ventures that failed, bought multiple homes and luxury cars, and reportedly fathered children with multiple women, resulting in substantial child support obligations that further drained his resources. The financial collapse accelerated after his playing career ended. Teams were reluctant to sign him, not just because of his age, but because of his reputation for causing locker room problems and clashing with quarterbacks. His last NFL game came in 2010 with the Cincinnati Bengals, and despite attempts to continue playing, no team would take a chance on him. By 2011, Owens faced serious financial difficulties. According to various reports, he had squandered nearly all of his career earnings through poor investments, excessive spending, and child support payments. The once dominant receiver who had terrorized NFL secondaries found himself struggling to pay bills, a cautionary tale about how quickly athletic earnings can disappear without proper financial planning and self-control. MC Hammer spent $70 million in 5 years. Stanley Kirk Burrell, better known as MC Hammer, became a global superstar in the early 1990s with hits like You Can't Touch This and Too Legit to Quit. At the peak of his fame, Hammer was worth approximately $70 million. 5 years later, he filed for bankruptcy. The spending was legendary in its excess. Hammer reportedly employed a staff of over 200 people, including multiple personal assistants, trainers, chefs, and an entourage that traveled with him everywhere. The monthly payroll for this staff alone ran into hundreds of thousands of dollars. He purchased a 40,000-square-foot mansion in Fremont, California, which he customized extensively with gold-plated fixtures and other luxuries. The property's maintenance costs were astronomical, even before considering the staff required to run it. Hammer also invested heavily in failed business ventures, including a record label that never produced profitable artists and various tech investments that went nowhere. His generosity became another financial drain as he gave away cars, jewelry, and cash to friends and family members. The lavish lifestyle continued until the money simply ran out. In 1996, Hammer filed for bankruptcy with debts exceeding $10 million. The bankruptcy filing revealed the extent of his financial collapse. He owed money to numerous creditors, including back taxes to the IRS. The mansion was sold at a significant loss. The entourage disappeared once the paychecks stopped. Hammer's story became a cautionary tale so famous that financial advisors reference it when counseling newly wealthy clients about the dangers of lifestyle inflation and poor financial management. While Hammer eventually rebuilt his life and found success in other areas including Christian ministry and business ventures, he never regained the financial heights of his peak years. 50 Cent filed bankruptcy despite making millions. Curtis Jackson, known professionally as 50 Cent, built an empire after his 2003 debut album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', sold over 8 million copies. At his peak, 50 Cent was worth an estimated $200 million, thanks not just to music, but to savvy business moves, including his stake in Vitamin Water, which reportedly netted him between $60 and $100 million when Coca-Cola acquired the company. So it shocked the entertainment world when 50 Cent filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2015. The bankruptcy filing revealed debts of over $32 million, including a $5 million lawsuit judgment to Lastonia Leviston, Rick Ross's ex-girlfriend, after 50 posted her sex tape online. Another significant debt came from a lawsuit with Sleek Audio over a failed headphone deal. The bankruptcy appeared strategic, allowing 50 to reorganize his debts while protecting his assets. Court documents showed that while he claimed to be broke, he continued living a lavish lifestyle with expensive cars, jewelry, and properties. Financial experts noted that Chapter 11 bankruptcy for celebrities often serves as a legal tool to manage debt rather than a sign of actual poverty. The bankruptcy case revealed the complexity of 50 Cent's financial situation. Despite earning millions, his spending, legal judgments, and business deals gone wrong had created a debt burden that required court intervention to manage. He emerged from bankruptcy in 2017 after reaching settlements with his creditors. Following the bankruptcy, 50 Cent focused more carefully on his business ventures, particularly his highly successful television production work, including the Power franchise on Starz. By 2025, his net worth had reportedly rebounded to approximately $40 million, showing that while his bankruptcy was real, it was also survivable through better financial management and continued hustle. Allen Iverson blew through $200 million. Allen Iverson was one of the most electrifying players in NBA history, an 11-time All-Star who won the MVP award in 2001 and led the Philadelphia 76ers to the NBA Finals. During his 14-year career, Iverson earned over $200 million in salary and endorsements, including a lifetime deal with Reebok. Yet by 2012, he had reportedly filed for bankruptcy. The spending was extravagant, even by professional athlete standards. Iverson maintained an entourage of approximately 50 people who traveled with him constantly, and he covered all their expenses, including hotels, meals, and entertainment. According to court documents and media reports, Iverson spent approximately $165,000 per month on clothes and jewelry. He purchased multiple homes and luxury vehicles. His jewelry collection alone was worth millions, though much of it had to be sold to pay debts. The financial problems stemmed partially from poor investment advice. Iverson trusted financial advisors who allegedly mismanaged his money and steered him toward bad investments. Additionally, Iverson's generous nature meant he frequently gave money to friends and family members, often without expecting repayment. His divorce from his wife Tawana in 2013 further complicated his finances, with reports of back child support obligations. However, Iverson's story has a silver lining that distinguishes it from some other financial collapse tales. His lifetime Reebok deal, negotiated early in his career, included a unique provision: $32 million placed in a trust fund that Iverson couldn't access until he turned 55 years old. This forward-thinking clause, likely insisted upon by advisors aware of financial risks facing young athletes, ensures that Iverson will have financial security in his later years, regardless of how much he spent during his playing career. Isaiah Washington lost Grey's Anatomy over one incident. Isaiah Washington played Dr. Preston Burke on the medical drama Grey's Anatomy, one of the show's most prominent characters in its early seasons. The role brought him fame, critical acclaim, and financial security. Then, during an on-set dispute in October 2006, Washington reportedly used a homophobic slur in reference to co-star T.R. Knight, who was not yet publicly out as gay. The incident allegedly occurred during an argument with Patrick Dempsey, but the slur was directed at Knight. In January 2007, Washington appeared backstage at the Golden Globe Awards and, when asked about the incident, repeated the slur while denying he had used it. The public repetition of the offensive language turned the controversy into a media firestorm. ABC and the show's creator Shonda Rhimes faced immense pressure from LGBTQ advocacy groups and viewers who demanded consequences. Despite Washington issuing public apologies and attending counseling sessions, ABC decided not to renew his contract. In June 2007, the network announced that Washington would not return for the show's fourth season. The financial impact was immediate and severe. Washington had been earning hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode, and Grey's Anatomy was at the height of its popularity. Losing that role meant walking away from what could have been years of steady, lucrative work on one of television's most successful shows. In interviews years later, Washington revealed the full extent of the damage. He told the Huffington Post that he lost everything. He couldn't afford an agent or a publicist, and his phone stopped ringing with job offers. The entertainment industry essentially blacklisted him, and he found himself unable to work despite his proven talent and previous success. Washington eventually found redemption more than a decade later with a role in the Starz series P-Valley, but the years between represented a career in exile, all because of words spoken in anger that destroyed his professional life in an instant. Ne-Yo's infidelity cost him $400,000. In 2022, singer Ne-Yo's estranged wife, Crystal Renee Smith, took their marital problems public, accusing him of gross infidelity and even reportedly impregnating another woman while they were still married. The accusations, shared on social media, painted Ne-Yo as a serial cheater who had betrayed their family repeatedly. Ne-Yo responded by requesting a gag order against Smith, claiming that her public statements about their relationship had directly cost him nearly $400,000 in lost partnership deals and endorsement opportunities. The request highlighted how celebrity divorces and public scandals can have immediate, quantifiable financial consequences beyond legal fees and settlements. Companies that had been negotiating deals with Ne-Yo or had him under contract as a spokesperson reportedly backed away once the infidelity allegations became public. Brands carefully cultivate their images, and association with celebrities who become embroiled in scandal can damage their reputation by extension. The situation illustrates a broader truth about celebrity careers in the social media age. Personal behavior that might once have remained relatively private can now be broadcast instantly to millions of followers, with corporate sponsors making rapid decisions about whether to maintain their relationships with tarnished celebrities. Ne-Yo's case was particularly striking because the dollar amount of lost opportunities was specifically cited in legal filings, putting a precise price tag on the consequences of his choices. While $400,000 might seem modest compared to Ne-Yo's overall net worth, it represented tangible proof that infidelity and the resulting public drama had damaged his earning potential and professional reputation in measurable ways beyond just his marriage ending.